Shalom, friends, and welcome to Hebrew with Mayim. This Torah portion is called Vayetze, and it contains the famous Jacob's ladder, or the ladder of Jacob. Now, most biblical historians believe that this wasn't actually a ladder as we know it today, but an ancient Middle Eastern structure called a ziggurat, which is what is pictured behind me right now. And this ziggurat, or this ladder in Jacob's dream, Yaakov's dream, represented a travelway or a pathway between heaven and earth, or between God and man. Now, the Torah portion of Vayetze is found in Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 to 32, verse 3. And the Haftarah portion is found in Hosea 11, verse 7 to 12:14. And I'd like to just first read to you a short summary of the Torah portion and the first Aliyah from Chabad.org. So a general overview of this week's Aliyah. So in this week's reading, Vayetze, Jacob travels to his uncle Laban, or Lavan. En route, he stops at the Temple Mount, this is according to Jewish tradition, where God appears and assures him that he will return safely to the land of Canaan, or Canaan. Yaakov, or Jacob, stays for 20 years in Haran before returning to Canaan, or Canaan. During his stay, he shepherds Lavan's sheep and survives and prospers despite all his uncle's attempted deceptions. He marries Leah and Rachel, or Rachel, and the first 11 tribes are born. Now, specifically in the first Aliyah, Yaakov left Beersheba, or the well of oats, or the well of seven. That's the name of the city. And he headed towards Haran, to his uncle Lavan, or Laban's home. Now, while traveling, Yaakov encountered the place, or in Hebrew called Hamakom. And this is actually one of the names of God in Judaism, Hamakom. And it represents Hashem's omnipresent nature. It represents the fact that God is everywhere. So Hamakom, that is a name of God in Judaism. And Hamakom is traditionally known as Mount Moriah. And since the sun had set, he lay down to sleep. Now, in a dream, he saw a ladder reaching up to heaven, a ladder, or a ziggurat, again, as pictured behind me, that reached up to heaven with angels ascending and descending its rungs, or its steps. God appeared and informed him that he would bequeath the entire land to his descendants, to Yaakov's descendants, and that he would safeguard him until he returned to Canaan, or Canaan. Yaakov awoke, and now recognizing the holiness of the location, he erected a monument to God and named the location Bet-El, or House of God, and vowed to tithe all his belongings when God's promise of a safe return would be fulfilled. So I believe this is also another reason why this place, Hamakom, is known as Mount Moriah, or the location of the Temple Mount, because Yaakov called it Bet-El, House of God. He called it House of God. And so Jews believe that this is actually where the temple was later built. So now let's go ahead and study the Hebrew and look at the words in this pasuk in the first Aliyah. This is found in Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 28, verse 12. So first, let's read it in English. It says, "And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up towards the earth, or ground, and its top arrived, or reached toward the heavens. And behold, angels of God were ascending and descending upon it." So the Hebrew is going to be very interesting. So the first word here is Vayachalom. Vayachalom. And it means literally, and he dreamed. And he dreamed. The Vav is and then the Yud right here in the beginning makes it he, okay? Vayechalom. Now, the root of this word, the chet lamed mem sofit, chet lamed mem, it means dream or dreamed, he dreamed. However, it also interestingly means to be strong or to be healthy. So this root, chalam, chet lamed mem, it can mean to dream, and it's used that way many times in the Torah and in the Bible. But it can also mean to be healthy or strong. For example, in Job 39:4, Job chapter 39, verse 4, and also Isaiah 38:16. So in Job 39:4, in English it says, their offspring become strong, they grow. And the word for become strong in Job 39:4 is the same root, the chet lamed mem, just like in our story in Jacob's ladder. And in Isaiah or Yeshayahu, chapter 38, verse 16, it says, "Oh, restore me to health and let me live." And that verse that says, oh, restore me to health, that actually also has the same root, the chet lamed mem. So I think it's just very interesting that this word that means dream can, in different contexts, also mean strong or health. So it can mean to dream, or it can also mean to be strong or to be healthy. And that reminds me, it makes me think of the fact that when we have a good night's sleep, which is a very healthy thing to have, then we enter into the REM phase, and that is when we dream. And if we don't enter into that REM phase, then we actually don't have a good night's sleep, and it's not very healthy to have to sleep without that REM phase. So it's really fascinating how in Hebrew, the same thing is related somehow scientifically and for our health as well. Okay, now let's look at the next word. The next word is vehine, and vehine means and behold. So hine is behold. The ve again is just and. Hine means behold or look or hear. Hineni is here I am, here am I, or behold me, look at me, hineni. But here it's just vehine and behold. And then we have here, the next word is sulam. Sulam is ladder, or it could, also be that staircase or zigurat. Okay, sulam. And then we have mutsav. Mutsav is next, and mutsav means set up or was erected. Okay, it can mean any of those. And then next is artsa, artsa. And artsa, it has the root word eretz, which means land or ground. Okay, you can translate to either of those. And then the hey at the end of artsa or artsa, the hey means towards. Okay, so the ladder, the ziggurat, was erected towards the ground or towards the land, okay, or was set up towards the land. And then next we have verosho. Ve means and again, and rosh is head. It can mean head or first or top. It's translated here as top. Verosho, and then the o part at the end of rosho. The o part means its, or it could also mean his. Okay, but in English we wouldn't say his when referring to a ladder or a staircase. We would say its. Okay, so verosho and its head or its top or the top of it. And then we have magia. Magia means literally arrived, or it's usually translated though as reached. Okay, so arrived or reached. And then the next word is ha shamaima. So Hashamayma, you can hear it has Hashamayim. Hashamayim is the heaven or the heavens. It doesn't matter if you translate it as heaven or heavens. In Hebrew, it's always it's the same. It looks like it's plural form, even if it's talking about just one heaven. Okay, it's one of those words that is like that, and there's all other words like that. Even the word mayim also kind of looks plural, but it doesn't matter if it's plural or not. It's just mayim. So hashamayma, that means towards heaven. Okay, so just like artsa meant towards ground, towards the ground or towards the earth. Hashamayma means toward heaven. So verosho magia hashamayma. So its head or its top reached towards the heaven. And then we have vehine, which is again, and behold. And then we have malache, and that means angels or messengers. It could also be translated as messengers. It's the same word. In the English, we usually translate it as angels when we think that it's a heavenly messenger, not necessarily an earthly messenger. But in the Hebrew, it's the same word. So malache, the malach is just a singular angel or messenger. The malache means makes it plural and then of. So malachim would be angels. Malache means angels of. Okay, and then we have Elohim, and that means God or the all-powerful one. Okay, and then or the source of all power. That's one of the reasons you can think of. That's one of the reasons why Elohim is in plural form, because this one God is actually the source of all powers in heaven and earth. And then it says the next word is olim. Olim means ascending, so it's plural form. The angels of God were ascending. Okay, and this is of course related to the word also Aliyah. When you go up to read the Torah, or when you make Aliyah when you move to Israel. Okay, and then we have Veyordim. Veyordim means and descending. So ve is and yordim is plural. They were descending. And then we have bo, which can be translated as either upon it or upon him. Okay, and now if we were talking about the latter, we wouldn't say upon him in English. But in Hebrew, just like other languages, like Spanish, for example, everything has a gender, everything has a sex, either male or female. Okay, and so in this instance, it's saying here that the ladder, or the sulam, is male. It's using bo instead of ba. Okay, if it was female, it would say ba. So now, this ladder that we're talking about, right? The ladder is something that connects heaven and earth, and that is the unseen spiritual world, heaven, with this material world, right? That's earth, or artsa. And now in the Midrash, in the Midrash Rabbah, there is an argument. And the sages say that one rabbi says that it means that the angels ascended and descended upon the ladder, the sulam, and that God stood above the ladder. But the other argument, another argument in the Midrash says that the angels ascended and descended upon Yaakov himself. So it wasn't the ladder that the angels were ascending and descending on, but it was Yaakov or Jacob. And so that, it doesn't seem like it's saying that, from a very simple reading or understanding. But actually this word bo, it could refer to the ladder, or it could refer to him or Jacob. It really could refer to either. So in Genesis Rabbah 68:14, Rabbi Chia, the elder, and Rabbi Yanai it says, disagreed. One taught that the angels in Jacob's vision were ascending and descending on the ladder, and the other taught that they were ascending and descending on Jacob. That's Genesis Rabbah 68:14. And in Genesis Rabbah 69:3, it says that Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yanai disagreed. One taught that the Lord stood on it, which means that God stood at the top of the ladder, while the other opinion says that God stood on it, but it should actually read on him or over him, meaning that God stood above Jacob. And so I think that's very fascinating. And the way I always like to look at disagreements is that they're not really disagreements, but they're really just two different perspectives in Judaism. They say that there's 70 faces to the Torah, and whenever there's two Jews, there's three opinions. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that one is wrong. So, one verse or one interpretation, of this verse says that basically the angels use the ladder to go back and forth towards, from heaven and earth and backwards to basically help Yaakov, to help Jacob, right? To bring his prayers back up to God and to send God's blessings and prayers back down to Jacob. But and I think that's absolutely true. I think that is definitely what happened, because Yaakov, Jacob, he was a righteous man. He was a tzaddik. God was with him. That doesn't mean that he was perfect. The Bible even says that the tzaddik, the righteous man, he falls 7 times, but yet he gets back up again. So being righteous, being a tzaddik, doesn't necessarily mean being perfect. There were many people in the Bible that were called righteous. Even Noah was called righteous. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were perfect. It doesn't mean that they never fell, but it does mean that they wholeheartedly tried to live a righteous life and follow God's ways. Now, with the second interpretation, remember the second interpretation is that the angels were descending and ascending upon Yaakov himself. So in essence, it was like he was the ladder. It was almost as if the ladder represented himself. And, I think that's also a very valid interpretation. There's a concept in Judaism that the tzaddik, or the righteous man, can do wonderful things. That a tzaddik's prayer, a righteous man's prayer, can be powerful and can be effective. Remember, Moshe prayed for the people of Israel when they sinned, and Moshe, through his prayer, was able to spare them from destruction. When it said that God wanted to destroy them and make a people out of just Moshe himself, and Moshe interceded and said no. And so I think both interpretations are true. When we are righteous, our prayers ascend to God, in that on that proverbial ladder, like Jacob's ladder, and then angels help us, and they bring God's blessing, and they bring these messengers of God. They bring the blessings down from God to us. But also, we are also a ladder that reaches from earth to heaven and from heaven to earth. So we are God's hands and feet in this world. And when we represent him accurately by loving our neighbor and doing good deeds and keeping God's commandments and loving God and being a good representative for him, we are also sending God's blessings from heaven. We're being a vessel of God's blessings from heaven down to earth, down to the people who are stuck in darkness and who need his light. And we also act as a vessel to help people, from this earth look up to heaven and have a closer walk with God and to receive his blessings from his angels. Well, I hope you enjoyed that short Hebrew lesson and Torah life coaching session. And I pray and I encourage you to be like Jacob's ladder, to be that righteous tzaddik, and to be that vehicle, that vessel for Hashem's blessings, for God's blessings to descend upon, and to be also a vehicle and a vessel so that other people can be drawn closer to God and to be able to look up and see and have a closer walk with Him because of your words and your actions. Shalom.
Would you like to become the healer of your home and your community and create a profitable online health coaching business? Are you interested in becoming a health coach, a naturopath, an herbalist, or a nutritionist? Do you need help finding the right program for studying holistic health and healing? Or perhaps you already have certification, but you're still not confident enough in healing people and don't know how to build a business that will empower you to have an impact and allow you to leave your regular day job. Are you ready to get a deep and comprehensive picture of holistic health and healing and learn from top healers in our day so that you can stop being stuck in a job or a career you don't have a passion for? Heal yourself and others without the need for pharmaceutical drugs with harmful side effects, doctors, or even dentists. Become more knowledgeable about holistic health and healing than most medical doctors who have graduated from medical school without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of time in expensive medical schools or programs. Build a health coaching business that will allow you to work from home and achieve time, location, and financial freedom. Aruka.com empowers people to become the healers of their home and their community by equipping them with naturopathic herbalism, health coaching, and online business and marketing skills. My name is Mayim. I'm 42 years old and a homeschool mom of 7 beautiful children. These 2 in the photo are my October babies. I became a naturopathic herbalist and health coach in order to take charge of my family's health when the modern medical system kept failing us. We were spending thousands of dollars on insurance and other medical expenses, but they did not have any answers for our health problems. Working from home has been such a blessing for us. I used to work at the NASA Ames Research Center as a computer scientist/engineer. But being able to have an online business has enabled me to surpass my income at NASA and to be there for my family, homeschool them, take care of them, watch them grow up every step of the way for 18 years now. I started Aruka.com in 2009 to help people become healthy and heal themselves. I've coached all sorts of people, and eventually even medical doctors and nurses started coming to me repeatedly for help for various health issues for themselves or their loved ones. I help people heal themselves of serious diseases such as cancer, heart disease, and high blood pressure, diabetes, as well as other common issues such as hormone imbalances, abnormal bleeding, migraines, eczema, kidney stones, gallstones, cataracts, and even urinary tract infection. Various people began asking me to start teaching what I know about holistic health and healing, including 2 medical doctors who have become very good friends of mine. When I realized that there was such a demand for the knowledge I have that even medical doctors were telling me to teach, I shifted the focus of Aruka.com, and now we teach people how to become confident healers through our naturopathic herbalist and health coach certification program. We help people become healers of their home and community and create profitable online health coaching businesses. If you're interested in becoming a holistic healer, please visit our website, aruka.com, ARUKAH.com. Again, that's ARUKAH.com. Hope to see you there.